Aye, so let's just say that the trees, because that was the biggest thing, the trees that Earth had grew on it, sort of thing. Because if you think it's the most simplistic thing there is. I'm not sure if it the most simplistic tree is, but if you look at a tree, it is the most simplistic thing that mimics Earth as a torus. And they would have grew way too big at one place. So there might have been like a little scar or something, like a Pika misplaced mountain sort of thing, and that needed to be eroded and put back to where it was. Displaced from. Yeah, so if you think about it, if the Earth was like perfectly equal to its neighbours and they were all spinning together fine, they'd been well rounded, and if there was a tree to form, to erode it and things, it maybe would have like got into the fissures of the cracks of the rocks and broke them up and dissolved them and like pooled like the, I suppose you could say, well, I would say negative particles, because if you look at the symbology, their negative particles would flow. They are the ones that are going up through the tree, and positive is a cross. So it's like a gate to a blockage. So a cross is never a good thing if you're wanting to elevate. But if you want to resist and you want to go against the flow, then you'd go positive. And that would be going the opposite way of the induced flow by the governing planet that formed you. So, me, so we would have somehow been produced, and we'd have just been a little seed, and that little seed was probably just fired at it to try and knock it down. Because the first thing you do is use your finger, wouldn't you? You'd use kinetic energy. Which obviously the world is just wind, so it would have tried to use wind to like push it down. The wind didn't work, so it would have tried to like heat it up, but that's adding more positive particles. Because if you think about it, the solar particle is travelling and it stops, so Earth would be a gate, a blockage. Now, that particles would have fused and added more weight to the initial wound. Therefore, it would use freezing. So it would have like froze that bit. if freezing is like it's rising. Well, if you think about it, look, symbology-wise, how it's been noted. Like frost, you see frost is straight lines going up, and they try and balance. They always rise, and frost rises. So flowing energy is cold. We've totally been misled that hot energy is the flowing energy. It's weird. But reassess a lot of things just with that knowledge. Like when it comes to metallurgy and your pouring steel or whatever, and you go with the longitudinal lines and you pour with the magneseric flow, you get the perfect crystal structure. To form like a sword or whatnot. Or a dagger. Is that why my dad did that tattoo? Saying some really deep thoughts there. My father and my grandfather. Like killing fish, but it's actually no fish, it's like aliens. Like quite large aliens. Like size with them, and bigger I suppose. That's weird, man. I did the same when I was young. And I'm still doing it. You just forget. You do a lot of things intuitively. My intuitions came from someplace. Right, so we've used frost to try and get that trait, and then I thought it would like weaken around where it is, so it wouldn't be the greatest thing. So the only thing to do is use kinetic force then. So you'd have hit it with the only thing you knew would be a seed. So you'd have hit it with a seed. So hit a tree with a seed. That's what would have happened. Just a different kind of seed, maybe a bigger seed. That seed would have hit that tree and knocked it down, or set it in fire, I suppose, because you want that energy to go back in, aren't you? So they'd have set it in fire. So that's maybe why we've got like a crazy pyrotechnical kind of side to ourselves. So this is initial thought, isn't it? So if you look at it, like that's kind of what some people's minds are still on. Build something up and then burn it down. because that's just the way things are, sort of thing. That's the way we're designed. But we've got to remember that was the one of the first designs a separate entity, I suppose, would be. So you've just basically got two seeds. And I suppose they're made for the same structure. So that structure where they're made has got to be within a tetrahedron. Or is it just the octahedron? Is that all you need? So you go through a no way. So that's what would happen. What would happen would be you would like fly around. You go through the core. The core you'd compress in like every particle that has just went around and been added all goes to the North Pole or hole. I suppose they'll get to meet each other at the same time as they'll go down. So it's constantly, it's because we know it's a flux, so we're constantly shifting to the north all the time. A lot of us are resisting and causing resistance with barriers and such when everybody should be travelling north. That's weird, because if you go north you'll come to the North Pole and then you'll go in, and if you go, like, if you can get to the centre of the hole and go straight along the axis, you'd go through a tetrahedron. And that tetrahedron, well, that would be the point that you, kind of be the point you'd enter, because there would be, because there should be a mountain at the top with a hole in it, and that hole would be a equilateral triangle. That would go down for, I can get it together. Oh, I would go down for a fair bit. So do the length of the tetrahedron, length of the tetrahedron. Not that far, and then for there you'd go into a tetrahedron, and that too will have a little hole in there as well, not a big tetrahedron, a little triangular kind of hole. Well, sort of, it's like three, you do three spheres around you, basically touching. You go through that three spheres right in the centre. That takes you into the tetrahedron. then you'd hit a surface at the bottom of the then you'd hit the base, the bottom of the tetrahedron. So then you've got to divert divert 30 degrees. So you would see 30 degrees, so you'd see and up, let's just say you see it upside down triangle you go in. You would hit a line between two of them. You get a centre point for there. As soon as you get to what you'd like head for that, but then you would shift over enough for the Earth's sphere around, so it would be the centre of the hole. So you centre of the hole first, so as soon as you're in line with that 3 on one plane, the centre between two, you would steer 30 degrees. You go 30 degrees down there, heading towards another upside downer. So let's just say you take a left, and then you would take a right, and that's difficult because you've got to think, but you don't really, because you've got 30 degrees. But you're going to come to 4, 8, 12 stars or 12 spheres. And then when you see 12 spheres, you would get to the level plane of the 3 that you've got, or it'll be the opposite to the first one that you've seen, and you have a sphere at the top of you. So if you was to take a right, the right centre point there, that takes you into the octahedron. Or you can do it in reverse. That's kind of like a secret of that, is it? But then I suppose they would have got it wrong, and what they've done is they've used the pyramided surface on the. Oh well, I suppose that shows you where we are. Yes. So if I make a model, that shows me exactly where. It is, so maybe that's just a way to get in.